The title we have kept for the message is Your Love That Is Better Than Life. That's verse 3 of the Psalm. There is a love that is better than life, and we'll explain what that means. When he's in the desert, when he's in the wilderness, it's a place where he has no comforts. So, one night he's on the bed, he has soldiers, he has guards, he has his wives, he has all the stuff, and the next day he's got nothing. He's got nothing. So there is no comforts for him. There is probably bad weather. If we are experiencing the heat in Mumbai, imagine what happens in the desert. And no umbrellas, right? Or caps. But also another thing is there are enemies around. Because he was a man of God and he won so many battles and defeated so many enemies, the enemies were always on the lookout for David to find a way to get him. And so now he's alone because he does not have his army, he does not have any soldiers, nothing. And that's the condition when he begins to write this. And he writes in verse 1, O God, you are my God, I will seek you earnestly. My soul thirsts for you, my flesh yearns for you, in a dry and weary land where there is no water. So what's he saying in verse 1? He's singing the first song we sang, God is good all the time. Now we are singing in this place and we are complaining it's too much AC. He's saying, I wish there was AC. But he doesn't want it. I wish I was in a room, but he doesn't want it. That word earnestly actually means dawn, early in the morning. It's not earnestly, it means dawn. I will seek you at dawn. Like the first light, before the light can come up. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to seek you. And he's singing that song, and as the worship was going on, I was like, this song fits in this point. This song fits in this point. You will see. Every song that was sung is actually probably going to fit in some of the points that I'm going to talk about. Who did this? The Holy Spirit. I don't know. And this is what he's saying. And why am I talking about this psalm? This is a very important psalm when you look at it from theological perspective also. But because it talks about the nature, character of God and the things why God allows sometimes to happen. But there is a theology that goes in this world saying that God does everything good, nothing's going to go wrong. Just do as you please, and then everything in the end God will work it out. Wrong. It doesn't happen that way. But he is going to talk about this. That he is alone, he is feeling barren, but he values one thing more than anything else. His relationship with God. If there is something important in his life, it was not the palace, it was not the soldiers, it was not the army, it was not the money. It was, my God, you are my God. I value the relationship with you more than anything else. Last week in the message when we were talking about the treasure in you in 2 Corinthians 4, we were talking about this theme that when we allow things to become first in our life apart from God, then God breaks those things. And he brings us to a place where he becomes more first in our life. In this case, in David's life, God is already first. Then why is God allowing this to happen? Everything seems to be right. Then why is God allowing this to happen? Why is he finding himself in this place? When you look at the New Testament in the book of Philippians, Paul is in the prison. But Paul is not complaining in Philippians. He's talking about two words, rejoice and joy. If you read Philippians correctly, you find there are between 15 to 19 problems that Paul talks about in those 4 verses. There are issues going on, but he is in the prison. And he is writing about joy and rejoice. He is not, like most authors today go and find light in a desolate place with every comfort and they take 2 days, 4 days, 2 months to write a book. No, he says in the dungeon alone, with no light, he will write the book. And he says, I find contentment, I am satisfied. I rather die, but to stay here is gain, to get to know God is great gain, but I rather be here. I am happy in this place. And you think, these Christians, these people in the Bible, they are a little, radical. Yeah, Christianity is supposed to be radical. We are radical in that sense because of the faith we have. We believe in the invisible. Isn't that Hebrews 11:1? Evidence of things not seen. That's radical. What were the enemies of faith? Remember last week we said three enemies of faith: appearance, emotions, and what? Reason, logic. The world survives on them, and we don't want any of them. We want faith, faith in the living God. And Paul would say the same thing that David is saying here. You are all I want. You are all I want. In verse 1, David is in this place and he is saying, God, you are all I want. It's easy for us sometimes to be occupied with what's going on in our life and not be occupied with God. That can happen, and it's easy. It can happen very easily. The human mind can very quickly move towards the problems that are on hand and not move towards being occupied with God. David will show us that it is always possible to be occupied with God in spite of anything that can happen, and yet have balance in life. Because sometimes we think like this: if I'm always occupied with God, then how will the situation go on in my life? How will I be able to handle the things that are at hand? How will the problems be solved? Because if I'm always occupied with God, then I have to be practical also. I have to take care of stuff. David will show us. The Holy Spirit will lead us and He will show us how it happens, that He is where? He is in the wilderness of Judah. I was thinking Christ was also in the wilderness. When Christ was on this earth, He was in a place and He was in the wilderness. The Holy Spirit led Him into the wilderness. The enemy met Him there. And we know, as we taught in Bible college, that it was not, the enemy did not come once, twice or thrice. It was entire 40 days. If you read Luke correctly, it shows you that the enemy was tempting Jesus every day. Sometimes we think it only happened once, 3 times, he said. No, it was every day something was going on. He was on his case. But what would Christ do when those things happened? Matthew 4, 1 to 11 teaches us. Saying, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. There is a man called David, but then there is a person that we think of, Christ on the earth. Why was Christ here? For us. Why did He go to the cross? For us. Why did He have to endure the temptation? For us. For us to show us that it is possible for man, it is possible for human race to be occupied with God and yet go through this life with God. And still, there may be pressures, there may be trouble, but it is possible to be occupied with God and go the length of this life without compromising our faith. It is possible. Because it's easy to let go and leave the things that I believe in and say, maybe for a little while I'll just put it on the back burner and live life the way I want to live, because being occupied with God has not led me to any place. And I feel I've been cheated, or God has not stood up, or God has not been there for me all the time. And David will show us, no, it's not. Christ was revealing these answers to us. And we can think like this: am I like David this morning? Am I like Jesus this morning? Like, if life is tough and things go wrong, then can I be always thinking like that and saying, God is there and I can be occupied with Him? There is a problem with Christianity. And the problem with Christianity in some circles is this: that as long as God is available and present to take care of my problem, and when He takes care of my problem, I am occupied with Him. But once the answer comes, then it's okay for me not to be occupied with Him and live life. So when there is trouble, I'm going to church, instead of once, I'm going 5 times. Problem is there, I have to go 5 times. I need an answer, God, 5 times. And when the 5 answers come, then I can go once in a while, because God answered. And David is saying, that's not the way. I cannot be that way, We often want what God can give us and not want God Himself. We often want what God can give us, but not God Himself. Why does faith collapse of people? Why do people stop following? Because when they don't get what they want, then it makes no sense to follow God Himself. Because now I have a transaction with God. If He gives me what I want, then I can be occupied with Him. But if I get it from any other source, by any other way, then I want to be occupied with that source. And God will bring us to a point when He'll say, you are my God. You are my God. I will seek you earnestly. When we came into service today, does your attention wander sometimes? Like your mind wandering? Does it happen, or is it only me? The human mind is sometimes, I won't say sometimes, but this is how the human mind works. It is drawn to the least important thing first. The attention goes to the least important thing first. Okay? When you have pain in a small finger, your whole body is okay, but what are you thinking about? You're driving the car fast and a fly comes in. You're at 100 and you don't care about the speed. You're like, what if someone comes in front? Our attention is where? But it should not be. It should be the other way. It should be the major thing first and then the minor thing. Right? But for that to happen, we have to be intentional. We have to make a choice. We have to train our mind that we are going to focus on the big thing. Here is a good example. The sound started going up and down. Where was your mind on the sound? When the mic went off, where was your mind? The mic's not working. The deep projection is not right. This thing is there. And we had to make a choice. It can happen, but I'm not going to allow that thing to distract me from what's going on. Two things. It happened right this morning. And what was the first thought? Why is this happening? 3 months and they've not yet been able to sort this out? What's going on with this church? Why are the babies opening the door? Why is the pastor wearing this shirt? Why is he moving his hand so much? Where are the people? Where is so-and-so? I don't see so-and-so. Why is this person next to me have so much perfume on? I want to sit in another place. Small things. They can be these distractions. But the human mind works this way. But it's not that we have to remain this way. But when we have an intention, we can say the child can cry, the music can go wrong, I cannot hear the words, all can go wrong. But I am going to search for God. And then all those things, they don't distract you anymore. Your mind becomes focused on God. You'll pick up the word, you'll read a song even if you don't know. You'll start singing in your heart because I don't want. Same thing applies in life. We are prone to give attention to small things first. In Colossians 3 verse 2, Paul said, set your mind on things above where Christ is seated, not on things below. But human mind goes what? Below first, then above. Paul is saying, no, Christianity is above first, then below. Because if I focus on things below, then my picture of God changes. Then I try to fit God into this picture. And I say, God, you have to be. But if I focus on God first, then my mind says, I don't care what's going on here. God, I am occupied with you. You can change this. Unfortunately, where are we most times? On this side. See what's going on, why don't you do something? But I intentionally have to be on this side, said, I am seeking for you. Hasn't your son thrown you out? Isn't he after your life? Where is the prison? Where is the palace? Where is the comfortable pillows? Where are your wives? Where are your soldiers? I don't care. My God, I will seek you. My soul thirsts for you, even in a desert, in a barren place where there is no water. Do I need water? Yeah, but I would rather have you. I need comfort, but I am satisfied, I'm content with you. I need you, God. Because if I have you, then all those things won't matter. And somehow you will provide for those things. You will take care of those things. So what does it mean to have this, seeking? How do I seek God? And what is this seeking? What is this seeking that David is talking about? It is talking about a relationship. John 17 verse 3, Jesus said, "This is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you have sent." That's the purpose of our life, that you would know God. Now you can say, I know God. Maybe we don't know God. David has walked with God. He's gone through every type of emotion with God, every type of situation. Now he has a new one in his life. Yet he is saying what? My soul thirsts for you. My flesh yearns for you. In a dry and weary land where there is no water. That's what he is saying. This is what I want, To see God means that you want more of him. You want more of him. You are not satisfied. Like, is David satisfied? He is a writer of the Psalms. He has such great experience. He knows God in and out. He has experienced God in every way. But he is saying, no, I want more of you. I want more of you. My life as a Christian can never be in the neutral gear with God. It can never be. You drive fast on a highway and then you put the car in a neutral gear. What will happen? You think, yeah, I'm done. My car can go 140. I've reached 140. Now let me put it in the neutral. Soon it will come to a stop. The desire for God in our life can never be in a neutral gear. It has to be on. And seeking God means having a desire for God that never stops. Jesus, God was on the earth, right? Christ was on the earth. But he always wanted time with his Father alone. There were many details, but he would say, I have to pray. I have to be with my Father. There are many things to do, many miracles to do, many things to happen. He says, but my God, I have to be time alone with God. I seek God. Why did he have to be with his Father? Because I'm occupied with doing the will of my Father. Whatever the Father says, I will say. Whatever the Father tells me to do, that I will do. I will not do anything on my own. He was setting a pattern for the Christians, that they would know how to live life when trouble comes, that they would know how to handle life when God would be, in a sense, when situations develop in our life, And it is intentional. Relationship takes time. It takes time to develop a relationship. We can get very occupied with our ministry, our work, and not be occupied with God. Alan Redpath, who was a famous pastor of Moody Church, and he's written many books, and he's an amazing man of God. And he fell sick, and he was on the hospital bed, lying down, and he was questioning God. God, why did you allow this to happen at this time when we could grow so much? And the voice said to him, from God, said very simply, Alan, your work has become more important than worship. Your work has become more important. Oh man, I'm the pastor of the Moody Church, like world famous ministry. Your work has become more important than worship. So I'm going to give you a rest. Wait a little while. Get your focus back. Get your focus back. Desire God. A young man went to Socrates. He was proud. He was a young man. He was like, I want knowledge. So Socrates started walking towards the water. This man started following him. He said, I want knowledge. So he took that young man and he put his head inside the water. Then held it for 15-20 seconds and brought him out. What do you want? Wisdom. I want wisdom. Because his head, put it down again into the water. This time held it for 10 seconds more. He came out. What do you want? Air. He says, when you want God, when you want knowledge, like you want air, then come to me. When you want knowledge as much as you need air, then come to me. And that's a great thing to understand and to think. How is my desire for God this morning? Is it like, hey, I want God's knowledge? Or am I gasping for that breath to know God the way these men knew, or the way these women knew, or how Jesus showed it to me? There has to be this desire. And David is very clear. He says, In a dry and weary land where there is no water, my soul thirsts for you, not for water, and yearns for you, not for food, not for comfort, but you. Is it possible for us to live like that? I think so. That's why the Holy Spirit would allow these words to be written. And because God is infinite, He's infinite. We cannot be satisfied and say, I know a part of God. God is infinite. There is too much of Him. And every day as I learn more of Him, that desire should be fueled so that I would know more of Him. I can never be satisfied in that sense of saying, I have reached a place. If I think I have reached, or anyone Christian thinks they have reached a place where they know enough about God, you are in danger. You are in danger. You are never in that place, And the reason is this, because we all have a vacuum in our heart. We all have a vacuum in our heart. And we fill that vacuum with sometimes friends, with relationships, with family, with entertainment, with the job, satisfying career, many of those things. But the world, things of the world are not made to satisfy the Christian soul. Only God can satisfy the Christian soul. And if God cannot satisfy you, then nothing else will satisfy you. And I can think that I can get the best job in the world, my dream job, my dream salary, my dream home, everything that is there. But my soul will not be satisfied because only God can satisfy our souls. The things of the world cannot satisfy our souls because only God can do it. And that's the vacuum that is in our heart. There has to be an intimate relationship. And the desire of God, only God can fill the vacuum. And David is saying, you can take everything away. And I can be with God and I can still be satisfied. You can take my palace, take it away. You've taken everything away. I only have slippers. I have this wilderness. I have a stone for my pillow. I am fine because I want God. And God can satisfy me and I will not even miss those things. I will not even miss those things, Verse 2. I have seen you in the sanctuary to see your power and your glory. I have seen you in the sanctuary, David has worshipped God. He has seen God. He has experienced God. He knows when he went into the tabernacle, into the temple, in all those places, how he would worship God. And he's not saying, I want the palace. He's saying, I want the sanctuary. Like I want to go back singing there, For the New Testament believer, it is saying like, oh, I am there, I'm here, but I wish I was in the church. Like, why should I always be in the church? Is because that's where the vacuum in your heart will be filled by God and God alone. But there are so many distractions, but I need to be intentional and remove those things from my mind and from my heart so that I can get God. And He says, I have seen you. I have seen your power and your glory. God works in our life mysteriously. There are times when we experience the work of God, and there are sometimes we don't experience, but sometimes we see the work of God. Sometimes it happens to us personally and we say, wow, God could do this. And then we see God working in someone else's life and we say, wow, God can do this too. But it's not happened to me, so what? But I see His power in my life and I see the glory that is happening in other people's lives. And that builds my desire to know more of God, to more. I desire to see your glory, I desire to see your glory. And this is the question that you need to ask. Wherever I am today, can I experience the power and glory of God? Maybe you have questioned it. Maybe you have doubted it. Maybe you have thought it can work in someone else's life but not mine. Maybe we have doubted it and we have not been persistent enough and we have not sought God after it. But we need to think like this, that I have desire to see your glory, God. I desire to see your glory, God, Can revival happen in my life spiritually? Yes. Can a person change and be transformed by the power of God? Yes. But do I desire it? Do I believe it? Do I think like, can God do this? And yes, God can do this. Or have I just thought, oh, life is this way, God is in a certain way, and these things can never change, so let me go on with my life. You will not experience the power and glory of God. Because now you have put God in a certain box and you're saying, God, this is who you are, this is how you work, so this is fine. But I'm not experiencing this power and glory. I need something. But if I believe, and if I ask, and if I seek after God, then I will see it. And David says, I saw it in the sanctuary. I can see it in the wilderness too. You are not restricted to the sanctuary only, God. There is no ark here. There are no priests here. But I will see your glory here also. I will see your power here also. It was not my idea to become king. It was your idea. And if it's your idea, then I'll go back to the palace again. But if it's not your idea, I'll be happy here because I'm satisfied with you. So even if you don't give me the throne, I'm okay. Because it was not my plan to become the king. It was your plan. You made it possible. And because you made it possible and now this thing is happening in my life, that means you have allowed it. And if your desire is that I still be king, then you will bring me back to the throne. I don't know how that is going to happen. Let the process happen. I'll be occupied with you. And this is intentional. This is the battle that we fight on a daily basis. Because so many times we feel God is not involved. He's taken me in a bus in the middle of the desert. He's dropped me off and God has gone away. And he has said, bye and handle your life. And then we say, see what you have done to me. And the Lord is saying, you have the whole desert to yourself and me. How about this? I can bring water out of a rock. Do you want it? I can rain manna from heaven. Do you want it? Israel failed in it, right? God brought them into the wilderness. And with the rabble that came along with Israel, and they started saying what? Oh, we missed the fish. Oh, we missed the garlic. And Jesus said, oh, wait. I'm going to bring you to a place where you will be hungry and I'll send manna from heaven to satisfy you. Will that be okay? But what about the cucumber? Yeah, you want the flesh, you'll get the flesh. You want the desires of the world? Okay, go ahead. They will not satisfy you. You can get as much as you want. It won't satisfy you. You know. And he's saying there is one prize. There is one objective. There is one main goal, that you would know God. In John 11, Mary and Martha are complaining. If you had been here before, our brother would have not died. And Jesus said, it is for the glory of God that I am late. I purposely came late. How insensitive, God. My brother is dying and you're purposely coming late? And you call yourself God? And you're purposely come late? You could have avoided it. The situation could have not happened. And you avoided it? And you purposely stayed away? And you didn't even send me a message? You could have written a message in the cloud so that I would have known that you are coming late, so I could have accepted it. But now I'm hearing from you that you purposely came late. They had known Jesus as the great physician. They had not known Jesus as the resurrection and life. So he waited. Because their knowledge of God was limited. He's a healer, but he's also the resurrection and life. They had to experience that. They had to see his power and his glory. And that's why he said, I will wait. Otherwise, their knowledge about me will be limited only. Sometimes God will push us into a place so that we get to know him more. Because willingly we don't want to go there. You think if you had interviewed Mary and Martha and said, Lazarus will die, then Jesus will raise him up, is that okay? They would say, no. Why does he have to die? Make him very sick and then Jesus can heal him. He is a great physician. But death, no. And Jesus said, I will let him die. Sometimes God will allow the things that we hold on to dearly in our lives that becomes an obstacle with God, and he says, death. But I'll raise it back again. The moment you turn in your heart, I will raise it back again. It could be a desire, it could be anything. And God will say, I'll bring it back. How does he have this confidence? Verse 3. Because your loving kindness is better than life, my lips will praise you. You know what he's singing right now? Draw me close to you. He's singing that song right now. Your love is better than life. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 8. Love never fails. That word loving kindness is hesed. And it speaks of God's royal covenant love. How is human love? Conditions. Terms and conditions apply in the small. Walk into this mall, 70% off. Terms and condition apply only on old stock. Right, Abel? Is God able? So Abel was telling us that God is able because his name is able. I was counting 11 times he said able. Don't go back and check on the net. It's okay. Yeah, because he is able, right? Love that never fails. That's the foundation of David's desire. He knows God will not fail him. He knows it in his heart. God is not going to fail me. Why does the situation happen in life? And here is something that we need to think. Sometimes we need the situation in our life. At other times, God ordains that situation. Sometimes we need it. When I'm in the situation finds me out. I'll explain what I'm saying. I need the situation. Sometimes it happens, we need it. We said this last week, pressed beyond measure, 2 Corinthians 4, 8 to 12. There was trouble, remember? I'm pressed beyond measure, I'm despair, but not dying, leaving the body of Christ. The life would be revealed through us. Why would God put Paul in that situation? Hasn't he had enough in his life? Paul needed that. Paul needed that situation. Sometimes the situations come into our life because we have too much human good and not the goodness of God. What do I mean? I can love people based on my reasoning, whether they are capable, should I love them or no, on my preference, right? This one I like, this one I don't like. Or on conditions. If they do this, then. When God loves, those things don't matter to him. Our failures don't matter to him. He loves how? Unconditionally. Sometimes I can have a lot of human good in me, but not God's goodness. So God will allow a situation to come in. So that all that human good I have will come up and he will take it out. He has to remove it. He has to remove it from us. I'm a good person. I do this. No, you're not a good person. You're a sinful person, like me. We all are. And God is working in our lives to remove that human goodness and replace it with his goodness. Remember Jesus said, why do you call me good? There is only one who is good, and that is God. Good master, what should I do to inherit eternal life? Why do you call me good? There is no one good but God. And so sometimes God allows this, And it is not who is right, who is wrong, who has failed, who has not failed. In the eyes of God, we said 2 Corinthians 4:15 last week, all things are for your sake. You know what it says in 5:18? All things are from God. So all things are for your sake, and all things are from God, so how can he go wrong? That's why David has no problem saying, your loving kindness is better than life. Sometimes we say, no, yeah, I love you so much, more than my life. But we don't mean it actually. So, okay, give your life. No, but what I'm trying to say, it's a metaphor, it's a English vocabulary. David is saying here that there can be a love that I can desire which is greater than my life. And it's not preferential. It's a love that takes me beyond. There can be this love. Sometimes God will allow things to be delayed in our life so that we will find out his loving kindness is better than life. Sometimes people will betray us. Sometimes people will fail us. God will allow this. Why? So that he will reveal to us that his love for us is better than our life. And we can have that. We can have that desire. We can have it. Sometimes God will ordain these situations, because if he allows these situations to happen, then I will become like Christ a little more. There is a lot of human good in us. If I was to tell you, okay, take a page and a pen and write down all the good things about you. How many pages could you write? Some of you are thinking, more than you. I can write more than you. How much ever you write, I'll be 5 ahead. We are that way. I'm a good so-and-so, I'm a good. But is it God? A lot of things from my Adamic nature, old sin nature, I can think good morality, good values, but are they God values? And sometimes God allows the situation so that all those things come up, and then He will remove them so that I become like Christ. Remember Romans 8:28? Don't get familiar with that verse ever. I know the verse. You don't know the verse the way you should know it. We don't know it. Because in the situation, I will find out who I am. The situation finds you. If I am filled with love, then in the pressure situation, love will come out. If I am filled with anger, anger will come out. Do I have peace? I can say I have situational peace. When things are good, I have peaceful. When things are not good, I am not peaceful. Christ is saying, Isaiah 26:3, there is a peace that reveals God. So I'm going to remove the human peace that you have and replace it with my peace. And this situation will allow it to happen in your life. I will allow it to happen. Do you have patience? Yeah, I am a very patient man. God says, okay, I'm going to bring in a situation, will show you how impatient you are. So that you will realize the patience that comes from God, which is led by the Holy Spirit. Are you peaceful? Yeah, I am a very peaceful person. Everyone is my friend. I have no enemies. And God says, okay, I'm going to allow some things to happen in your life so that you will realize there is a peace beyond your understanding. Let that situation come in. It will wipe out the desires and ideas that you have of human good. Some of you are not liking what I'm saying. I'm going to say it anyway. He will drive it out so that you become like Christ. That's the purpose. Your loving kindness is better than life. Can you be quiet with God alone? No, I am sick and fed up of this. Then okay, Isaiah 32:7, I'm going to allow this happen in your life so that you will learn divine quietness before me. Can you love like me? No, I cannot love like you. I love people, I have preferences, I have choices. Okay, I'm going to allow situations to come in that you will learn how to love like me. All your humanness will go out. Situations reveal what we are filled with. If we are filled with God, then God's qualities will be revealed. If I'm filled with myself, they'll come out. We are good in masking, you know that, right? Do you agree? We are good hypocrites. We put on good masks. When things are right, we are like, ha ha! And when things go wrong, because now it's whatever is right for me, whatever works for me. The sin nature is selfish. Christ is not. He's sacrificial. If I am selfish, then God will say, okay, I'm allowing a situation. Let it come into your life. Your selfishness will go out and your sacrificial life will be revealed. God allows it. I can't fight it. I will try to resist it. Don't elongate the process. He won't rest till He has done His work in you. Christ in you, the hope of glory, right? He will not rest, so don't fight Him. Don't waste those opportunities. When it happens, David says, your loving kindness is better than life. Lord, I rather focus on your love than all that is going on. But haven't you lost your kingdom? I don't care. There has to be something that God is doing right now. Otherwise, I would not be here. I rather find that out than worry about what my son is going to do. Because in the end, God will handle him also. And me. And sometimes you don't like the process, so we say, stop. Time out. T20, IPL. 2.5 minutes. Abhi drinks pi ke aayega. And then instead of 2.5 minutes, we are there for 2.5 years. So don't move. And he's saying, I'm waiting. But I'll do my work in you. I'm going to resist this. I'll do my work in you. You're like Jacob then. I'll break your thigh bone. You'll depend upon me all your life then. Why? Why so severe? I need you. I have made you to be in my image. And sometimes God puts you in that situation so that because someone else would get to know Him. That's also sometimes why God allows it, you know, that someone else will learn from your life. When I read Psalm 63, I'm learning from David's life. When you read Psalm 60, you're learning from David's life. When you read Gospels, you're learning from the life of Christ. Why did He have to go to the cross? So that we will learn, that we will go to the cross and say, not our will, but your will be done. Sometimes He will allow this, you know. I used to question God sometimes, you know, this soul winning. Man, we are distributing so many tracts. And nothing happens. Like, just let it be, you know. Soul winning. Passing out of tracts. Nothing happens. No one comes to church. And I sat in a rickshaw. And I'm seeing in the front that guy is put, and it's our tract. I'm like, this guy has our tract in his rickshaw. So I asked him, who gave you that? He says, I don't know. I picked the rickshaw from outside my house. He said, someone in this area only gave me the tract. I said, when? He said, 2 months ago. I read it every day. Coincidence. Then I took where I went, and from that place I took the rickshaw to come to my home. That guy has got a basket on the side of his auto. And he also has the same track. I'm saying, ye kya ho raha hai? Now 2 out of 2. So I asked him, who gave you the track? He said, someone in Kalina gave me. I'm like, same guy hai kya? Same rickshaw mein to nahi baitha hu main. And he's weeping. I said, why are you crying? He says, I have never heard this message before. Every time I read this track, tears come in my eyes. It's like so as usual, I didn't trust God anyway. So I said, hota hai, coincidence hai. You know. Then I went to fill fuel in the car, and I went to a pump that I never go to in BKC. I fill the pen. My wife has a habit, she'll give a track to everyone. When she's giving a track, the guy takes it from here and shows, again our track, and he says, thank you. मेरे पास बहुत टाइम से मैं रोज लेके पढ़ता हूँ इसको. I will never question you again. I will soul win. 3 people needed it. Who gave, I don't know. How is it possible that it is from the same church, those 3 different places? God. Maybe they needed it, and someone had already given it to them, and God had to show, you see, not your brains, mine. Just do as I have told you. I will never question God on soul winning again. Sometimes God puts you in the place because someone else needs Jesus Christ. And apart from you, nobody can reveal Christ to them. So He puts you in that situation. And you are complaining, but somebody is getting blessed. You are complaining, and somebody is saying, thank God, look at this person's life. And you're like, I am complaining all the time. He has no idea that you are complaining. He's saying, kya ho, love hai God ke liye. I also want this. He puts you there. God ordains it. And He's saying here, you know, because love never fails. And God will always bring out what? Good from it. Verse 4. So I will bless you as long as I live. I will lift up my hands to your name. Praise Adonai. That's what he was singing. That's the song. And I was like, man, every worship song is a part of the message right now. Raising of hands in the Jews would always mean a form of prayer. And he's saying, I will pray and I will praise you. But where are you? In the wilderness. Yeah, so what? No one will now criticize my voice or my singing style. Or no one will be worried about what words am I using to pray. So I'll praise you. How long? As long as I live. As long as I live. How does the person who seeks God look like? Have you thought of this? How do you identify a person who is seeking after God? It could be a man or it could be a woman. How do you know that they are seeking after God? First thing is in verse 5. My soul is satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth offers praises of joyful lips. The first thing you realize and you know a person who is seeking after God is they are satisfied. Philippians chapter 4. Remember Paul saying, in all these situations, I am content. He didn't say I am, he said I have learned contentment. Those who seek after God will learn satisfaction. Things of this world won't move them. Because why? My soul is satisfied. This world cannot satisfy us. The human flesh cannot satisfy us. The world system cannot satisfy us. Only God can satisfy us. And that satisfaction, that contentment is learnt. It's developed over a period of time. Philippians 4:11 and 12. Right? Israel did not learn contentment. They wanted food from the world. They got hungry. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 2 and 3, Jesus said this, that God has led you in the wilderness these 40 years that he might humble you, testing you to know what is in your what? Heart. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 6, these all things happened to us as an example, so that we would not crave evil things as they did. First thing in the life of a person who seeks God is you find satisfaction. They are satisfied people, Is Christ a good example? Israel is a bad example. Christ is a good example. Oh, bow down before me and I will give you the kingdoms of this world. Don't tempt the Lord your God. Out with you right now. Out with you. Nothing from this world can satisfy me, but only God can satisfy me, The person who seeks after God has joy. This is verse 7 and verse 11. For you have been my help. In the shadow of your wings I sing for joy. In the desert, you are singing for joy? Yeah, in the shadow of your wings. David will use this again and again because he knows God is his only refuge. And every time you see the word refuge or stronghold in the Bible, remember that it's not a place just like, it's a place where you run to when you're in trouble. In that place, God strengthens you and then he sends you out again. He doesn't keep you there and say, wait till the danger gets over. He says, no. I'm sending you out again. Now you will face it with me. Book of Philippians, all joy. All joy. There is satisfaction. There is stability. There is joy in the person. Verse 6. When I remember you on my bed, I meditate upon you in the night watches. What is he saying? In the darkness. Now, whenever you see the word darkness in the Bible, it talks about, in a sense, darkness, a phase where time doesn't move. It goes by slowly. Trouble is there. I can't see God. I feel I'm lonely. All those things are there. But he's saying what? In those times I will what? Meditate upon you. And in verse 7 he says what? I will also sing songs of joy. Anyone can sing in good times. But only a satisfied Christian, a joyful Christian can sing in any situation. You choose how do you want to be. But in person who is seeking after God, these things are evident. None of these things move me. Remember, Paul would say in the book of Acts, none of these things move me. They are trying to kill me, but none of these things move me. Why? Because God holds me. And we learn those things. We learn those things. We are not trying to force God, but we know what God can do. And so we surrender to God. Hebrews chapter 3, 12 to 14, it says, take care, brethren, that there not be any one of you with an evil, unbelieving heart that falls away from the living God, but encourage one another day after day, as long as it is called today, so that none of you will be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. For we have become partakers of Christ, if we hold fast the beginning of our assurance until the end. The person who seeks God has stability. Verses 8. My soul clings to you, your right hand upholds me. My soul clings to you, right hand upholds me. The person who seeks after God has balance. This is verse 9 to 11. Those who seek my life to destroy it will go to the depths of the earth. I'm going to God. God is showing me. They will be delivered over to the power of the sword. They will be prey for foxes. But the king will rejoice in God. God gave him the assurance. He's stable. He's relaxed. Everyone who swears by God will be glorified, and the mouth of those who speak lies will be stopped. He has stability. He has balance. And he says that. He's not judging people. He just has perspective. To have perspective in our life is great. Because sometimes you can get occupied with the current situation and not have perspective what God is doing. And we can get troubled by it. But when I have perspective, then I have joy, I have stability, I am satisfied, and I know God is in control. So in closing, how does a person see God? Well, I keep him at the center of our relationship. That's the best way to know God. I keep him at the center of our relationship. This is verse 3. Your loving kindness is better than life. My lips will praise you. I know the nature of God. I know the attributes of God. I understand how God is. I know how powerful God is because I learned it. I've experienced him through the scriptures. God speaks to me. I keep God at the center of my life, When a person is married and they are in a relationship, it's God created marriage for the human race because it is the most intense and the most passionate relationship between a man and a woman. He says that's how your relationship with God has to be. That's how your relationship with God has to be. Because a marriage cannot be built on feelings alone. If the marriage is on feelings alone, then it will be shaky. We had a great time with the youth yesterday and we had some good things to say to them. And we had some tough things to say to them, but it was a good time. And they will learn from it. And they will be prepared for the future. I was saying this to them. There is a system in the world that says contract-based marriage, prenup. If you cheat on me, then this is what you get. So that means before entering into marriage, you already know you have a doubt. This one is going to cheat sometimes. So let's have an agreement. Or let's have a live-in relationship. No commitment. We'll do all that we can, but no commitment. Both are wrong. They are not from God. It doesn't happen that way. Why? Because God created marriage for what? And the picture of the church with God is what? Bride and the bridegroom. Why would he do that? Because it's most intense. There is a commitment. There is a decision. If God is not the center of my life, then that means there is no commitment to God. Can happen. What do? I get back to it. Will it affect my time? Will it affect my life? Well, in a good way, yes. You choose. Secondly, the person who is seeking God needs to spend time. You have to place God at the center and you have to spend time. But I don't have time. Young guys came to me and said, sorry, I cannot take Bible college. Why? I've got college in the morning, then I go to work. I have so many things to do. Life is busy. Then they found the woman of their dreams. Suddenly they had all the time. So, you just said you didn't have time. But God opened the door. And she came into my life. So what changed? She came in. But time didn't change. Yeah, but I found time. Now I wake up early. Now I stay up late nights so that we can talk. And just now I asked you about God. You said, I don't have time. I'll come next semester onwards. We all have time. It's just that we don't prioritize it. We all have time, The woman of my dreams came. I had no time. Now I have all the time. Now I fall sick at office. I can't come because I have to go out with her. Yeah, fall sick sometimes and spend time with God then. No, I don't do that. My lips will praise you, irrespective of where I am. Finally, you allow God to be in charge of every area of your life. Yesterday, some of you all surprised us at 12 in the night. The first thing when I went to open the door was, man, all these clothes should have been inside. They'll come through the door and first thing they'll say, so many clothes lying outside? They take everything and put it in the bedroom. They say, oh, house is neat. Sometimes we play games with God like this. The things that God wants to put his hand on and say, this I want out of your life, you put it in the bedroom. Like, I'm clean before you. God is saying, no, I'm coming into the bedroom right now. The dirt is all there. No, this house is yours, God. This house is yours. Go wherever. Okay, I want to go in that closet where it's dirty. No. Let me clean it first, then you come. No, I can clean it. You can't. Sometimes God puts an area in our life, He puts a finger and says, this is what I want removed from your life. And you say, wait, no, wait. So we hide, we mask it, we put it inside the bedroom. He says, how will I look before God like this? And God says, I want that. I'm going into that room. That's where the dirt is. That's where the dirt is. So, troubling. Can you please wait, God? I don't like that. Yeah, that's why I'm going in. I want you to make you more like my son, Jesus. Can we wait? I have not enjoyed my life yet. Yeah, you're not enjoying, you're wasting it right now. Until that area is gone, you will be wasting it. It needs to go. Then you will enjoy life. But it's painful. Yeah, it will be for a little while. Sorrow comes in the night, but joy will come in the morning. Endure it for a little while. No, why? Why? You gave me life, I have a choice. Yeah, but I overrule. Not now. Okay, wait 20 years, Jacob. In the end, I will still overrule it. You lose 20 years. Do you want it with God? Do you want to lose time with God, this precious time that we have? No. No, but I can put so many things before God and say, wait, let this finish and then. And He says, no, but I'm going to cleanse the room. God, all areas belong to you except one. I want that one. Don't hold any area before God. Don't hold back anything in your life before God. It can be something good too. Give it up. Allow Him to come and clean the house. Clean your heart. Give Him the control over your life and say, it's all yours. It belongs to you. Take it. Use it anyhow. No, but what about my dreams? What about my desires? What about your dreams? What about your desires? Without God, they are nothing anyway. Without God, they are nothing anyway. They will never bring any satisfaction. Oh, but what about the neighbors? Who cares about the neighbors in that sense? I need to give that area to God, and God says, okay, I will handle it. They will be delivered over. They will be taken care of. That's what I want, Everything is wrong, David is saying. I'm running for my life, but I rather have you in every area of my life. I rather have you every area of my life. What can my son do? I love him. He wants my life. He wants to kill me. But you are in my life. And before he reaches me, you are there. What happened to Absalom? His head got stuck in a tree. He could not look up to worship. He could not stand on the ground. He was gone. God removed him like this. And David would cry, my son Absalom. Why? God's love is greater than life. And Joab would come and say, come on, get right. The enemy, your son, is dead now and the people are waiting for you. But he would mourn for his son because he was not the enemy. In that sense, he was his son. And there are people on the streets that are not God's enemies. They don't know him yet. And we are out there saying, hey, God loves you. God loves you. But I am dealing with my life. Don't trouble me right now. Yeah, you can deal with your life, but nothing's going to work till God gets involved in your life. And it's sad because some people will choose not to accept Him and go to hell. And then they will never have God. This is the only heaven they will ever experience on earth. Because there, in hell, it's worse. It burns forever. Eternal fire. The soul burns forever. But in heaven there is God. And we are satisfied. And there is joy. And we can learn that and live that today. And experience God as we seek Him. Don't lose sight of God. Don't ever lose sight of God. Let's pray. Father, we thank you this morning. You are my God. And I will seek you. I have seen you in the sanctuary. I have seen your power and glory. Your love is better than life. My soul is satisfied. You have been my help. My soul clings to you. And the King will rejoice in God. You are the delight of our soul. You are the desire of our heart. You are the defense of our life. We thank you. Worship you, God. Praise you. Take a moment and pray and say, Lord, this is an area in my life where I need you. I am not able to get victory here. Be transparent with God. Pray. Ask Him, Lord, I need you. There are times when I don't even desire you. I don't desire fellowship. I don't desire those things. But I need you, God. You are more important. Your love is greater than life. The treasures of this world cannot satisfy me. Only you can. Give me the desire to seek you, to worship you, to praise you, to understand you, to be involved, to be strengthened. Worship you, God. Praise you, Father.
If you look at the qualities and chemical combination of a coal and diamond, do you know they have the same? What's the difference is the diamond has taken that pressure, endured, taken that pressure, and it became more valuable. So a Christian will go through everything in his life, and as he goes through it, the Lord promises to be with him and in his life, shaping, molding him into a vessel, to something precious. So that's why the author of Hebrews says that all you needed was endurance. All you needed was endurance. You've suffered. So as we go through various trials, temptations, various situations, know that God has His purpose and plan in shaping you and molding you into a better person. And do you realize that there is no other way? In Christian life, there are no shortcuts to be transformed into the image of Christ. There is no shortcut to it. You have to go through it. So that's why you see a varied difference of spirituality in each and every person. And the more a person is spiritual, you see that person has chosen to go through it and still stand for Christ in situations. And you see in such type of a person, he's craving more for God's presence, resting in God's presence, being content, even though nothing is going well in his life, in her life. That's what our life's about. So know that God is in your life, and He meant good with everything that's going on in your life. Trust in Him and rest in Him, no matter how situations are in your life, because we know the end. We know the end. I was just looking for an illustration. There was a person dying on the bed. He was scared. He was scared. Doctor, I'm so scared of death. Do you know what is the other side? And doctor was about to leave. and he was holding the door. He said, I don't know. The dying person said, but you are a doctor, you are a Christian. You're supposed to know. I don't know. When he opened the door, doctor's dog was outside all scratching the door. When he opened the door, dog came in and he was, moving around the doctor. And doctor turned to the person on the bed and said that this dog, it's my dog. It never entered this room. It didn't know anything. But all it knows that master is on the other side. We know we are going through situations in life. But I know my master is with me on the other side. Let's pray. Our Lord, our God, we rest in you. Our peace is in you. We rely, we trust in you. No matter what's going on in life, we choose to behave the way you want us to behave in circumstances, and that's where we walk by spirit, not by flesh. We take that pressure by your strength. We take everything that life and situations throw at us, and through your spirit, we endure. We will be transformed into your image. Lord, thank you for this wonderful word this morning. Help us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.